Hey guys, check out this sweet ambush. Oh yeah, this is why I have 1,000 subscribers. So anyway, I'm trying out some new weapons because I finally got bored of the Murakumo. It just kills everyone too easily. What's the fun in that? See, now it's more fun with the guy lagging out of control and someone shooting lightning at me from off the screen. This is why I play Dark Souls right here. Latency just joining into the fight, really preventing me from outspacing anyone. It's just more fun this way. Alright, there's 3 of them, and none of them seem to be distracted by the terrible gargoyle mob, who's totally not a threat to anyone, so... now they are, I guess? It's weird. Thankfully, latency interrupts again, and for some reason, my attempt to use the Oni Slayer at the stun lock did not work, so I'm just gonna run away, heal real quick, and then roll into Oni Slayer. Fantastic R1 punishing move, and the freaking hitbox porn only made it sweeter. Now there's only 2 of them left, which, as we know, is much more manageable. Now, something I've yet to go over so far is the attack versus defense mindset. This affects both invaders and the people they're invading. See, the only reason I was able to dodge that sword swing out of the shield block that Will over here just did was because I had a defensive mindset after landing the first attack. I had my finger on the dodge button and was ready to press it as soon as I saw an animation. It's important to switch from attack mode to defense mode based on the situation and mindset of your opponent. For example, a lot of people who are fat rolling and have great shield will tend to attack after blocking a single move, and since he had a friend nearby, it was actually safe for him to do so. So I had to switch into defense mode and prepare to dodge the next move that came out, which allowed me to dodge the relatively fast one-handed greatsword swing on reaction rather than prediction. The host here had elected to flee, leave his phantoms to die, and try and make it to the shortcut before I could reach him while I'm occupied with his phantoms. You know, we're not going to allow that. Come on. Now you get to play this game for even longer. You're welcome. Here's another new setup I've been trying out. Partisan plus the Karthus Curved Sword. You know the Karthus Curved Sword, the one that was unbeatable in every one-on-one situation until it wasn't. Now I think the hitbox is actually smaller than the model. TFW, you kick the Phantom going for the guard break, and instead, you know, you broke his guard earlier, and the kick just knocks him out of the riposte animation. It's a tragedy for the modern age. Now you're about to see one of the things I need to improve on in my invasions. When someone is coming up on my side a little bit off the screen, I don't always reaction roll their attack. Sometimes I'll prediction roll it, and that gets me roll caught, taking damage that I really don't need to take. That's one of the bigger things I need to improve on in invasions. It's just one of the skills I need to put more of my brain into using. Alright, the host of Sea of the World. This blue seems almost half decent, I guess, staying out of the range of my weapon, not just blindly attacking. Now, the hosts and the mobs are a lot less dangerous than the host and his phantoms. I can dodge their attacks all day long because I played Dark Souls for a couple trillion hours, so I like to run into them. The reason I'm not running further into the level and dragging a bunch of mobs back with me is because they're already dealing with mobs, and I need to be able to take initiative if one of them makes too big a mistake. Sadly, this mindset is lost on me as I attempt to dodge this thing's attacks. Usually it never attacks. I've never seen it do that before. As you can see, the host and his phantoms are not making tactical use of the seed. I'm just basically waiting them out. The idea of 3 seeds that only last 45 seconds is that you can use them strategically to engage mobs that the invader is trying to gank you with. The idea is to, you know, be able to make your way through a part without having to deal with both the mobs and the invader at the same time. It's a good way to clear out some strategically dangerous ones. So when you sit there and do nothing after activating a seed, hoping that the mobs will kill the invader who's probably had a couple thousand hours of experience playing the game, yeah, it's not the best tactical move. As you'll see here, I attempt to correct my mistake from earlier and dodge the next person's attack, prediction roll their move, but instead, the person who I was hitting decides to attack out of stun lock, which locks me into a horrifying blender that nearly kills me, like, immediately. Then I attempt to prediction roll this running R1 for a sweet backstab, and it doesn't work. That's why, you know, and I criticize other people for going for dumb backstabs. I mean, the risk was minimal enough. At worst, I take a running R1 for 1 greatsword, and that's not a tremendous amount of damage. So these 3 are not engaging the mob and not using a seed either, so I'm going to do the thing where I play the edge and wait for one of them to either overextend, like this one, or if they'd waited too long, I might have switched to the partisan and gone for some running R1, just to, you know, rile the hive again and get them to attack me. You know, like that. Only, you know, I did it with the Karthus. The host uses a second of 3 seeds, which he wouldn't have had to do if he'd been more aggressive while the first seed was active. See, that's your chance to eliminate mobs. Now they've got the right idea, but they also don't have at least one of their guys paying attention to me, so I'm able to stop the yellow from killing the Pontiff Knight. That doesn't work the second time if the blue is engaging the Pontiff Knight, and the other 2 are dealing with me, so they're able to successfully clear the mob and then move forward. Now for some of the greatest spacing and width punishing you've ever seen in your entire life. Oh my god, look at all this damage I'm dealing. Fucking amazing. You know I have to be an edge lord after that. Yeah, see, when I make a montage video, it's not going to be ridiculous backstabs or crazy parries that don't do enough damage. It's going to be moments like that. Moments where I'm successfully paying attention to all of my opponents at the same time and outplaying all of them at once. That felt good. Seed is now inactive, which means they're going to have a lot more trouble moving into the artillery area. I do not notice for some reason that he's using an ultra and run into it expecting greatsword timing, whatever. As they retreat, I advance to take advantage of some of the mobs coming in to help me out, but now that the host is throwing fireballs, it's going to be much more difficult to punish attacks. However, since the Karthus curved sword is so fast, it can still be done without too much risk. That's one of the things that dex weapons have over big, heavy poise weapons. Ooh, that was close. Interesting use of the move there. He's around here. Time to leave. And now the artillery barrage has begun. I attempt to break this guy's guard on the free aim, but I fail because it's strafing. Alright, for some reason, even after having no health, the yellow is still attacking out of stunlock, which means he gets to die. Of course, he immediately flees now that he only has one phantom instead of two. Blue is instantly killed because there was no one there to help him. Good job, guys. And now I just decide to toy with the host a little bit. Go ahead and resummon. Let's do this again. The host has probably been summoning a lot of phantoms, or is just relatively young, since he doesn't seem to have any idea how to not fat roll or avoid guard breaks. And who knows? Let's not be too harsh on him. We all sucked during our first Dark Souls playthrough as well. The yellow from earlier is returned, and now he's throwing fireballs. Now I've noticed that they all are just swinging out of stun lock constantly, so I just keep throwing my Karthus attacks at them. Now, the Karthus two-handed actually takes up a lot more stamina than it looks like it would. So, what I should have done here was I should have one-handed it to minimize stamina consumption and then just keep R1, R1, R1 mashing for as long as possible. I'm unable to finish Violent before he can get his Estus sip off, which is a shame, but hey, you know, it happens. You might have noticed that he took damage through his shield there. That's what happens when you attack when you're in the middle of blocking at the exact same time you block an attack. I don't know why it's programmed that way. What actually happens when that occurs is they take a little bit of partial damage and they lose a ton of stamina on the block. It happens too quickly to take advantage of it on reaction, but if you happen to have queued 2 R1s, you might even get a guard break. Does not happen often though, so it's not something you should really be prepared for or be expecting. The host gets discouraged with the performance of his comrade here and decides to leave for the bonfire in order to find someone better, and I get the world's first Karthus bleed out that isn't on a hollow build. Or even if it was on a hollow build, it would still be the world's first Karthus bleed out since the nerfs. Vincent is taken down almost immediately since fat rolling is not a good counter to a curved sword, and oh, look at this, it's Mr. Gay. You know this guy from the Super Mario Galaxy logo? Yeah, it's a thing, look that up. Apparently the twinkles spelled that or something. And he's just immediately running away for the help of the host. Now, I'm unable to chase him down because latency... No, that's just a simple lag. Because lag causes his character model to stick there for a minute, block my progress, and then when the lag spikes ends, he teleports forward and then he's out of range. Unfortunate, but sometimes it happens. Playing the old passive game, I mean, I got a curved sword, like what else would I do? They're not doing much, so I think I'll go get a Knight's Ring and see if I can knock one of those shields down. One-handed greatsword is not a very big threat considering its total lack of hyper armor. Only extremely good players can make any use of them, and even with one-handed greatswords, they usually have to carry some kind of supplementary weapon that's a lot faster in order to hit people on reaction. For some reason, Blue is staying out of the fight completely, which means I get a free guard break. You should probably do something about this. You know, if you got the time. Now there's a second Blue. 3 opponents is the point at which my mind can't keep up with the amount of stimulus on the field, so I decide to retreat and make a move for the battlefield's edge, you know, the place where the mobs are. Falling back to the staircase is useful for 2 reasons. 1, it gets me closer to the mobs, and 2, the staircase serves as a choke point, so they can't circle around and try and blindside me. I've noticed that this great machete guy, 1, has no poise, which would be a lot more helpful if I had a Murakumo or a greatsword or some larger weapon, and 2, he's got the whatever ring, the one that gives him buff at full health. So obviously my first idea is to knock it off of him, throw a knife at him. Somehow it did 53 damage. I'm guessing it's because he took all his armor off in order to wield that terrible, awful, no good, very bad weapon, Smo's hammer. It does actually restore your health by, I think, 0.5 every time you hit an enemy, so, you know, it can do that. Something about Smo being an executioner, a cannibal and also an executioner. I guess those 2 go in hand. Anyway, since they're just sitting there and not following me, I'm going to shoot one of them with an arrow, and he dodged it, and Smo's hammer. Good thing I still have a sword, Everyone thinks when you've got a bow out that you're vulnerable, but not always. With one less blue spirit on the battlefield, my Estus is refilled to full, and there's only 2 opponents, which means I can take them on at the bonfire again. And blue is doing this thing of not doing anything and just watching me kill the host, I guess. Alright. Oh, cool, he's got a Farron now. I'm gonna try and do my favorite thing and backstab the first L1. Since the first L1 turns them completely around, if you can time it right, you can backstab them like as a punish, like the way you would a whiff punish. They won't be able to roll out, if there's enough latency, that is. Fortunately, he doesn't seem to want to do it. He doesn't seem to want to attack with a much heavier weapon that has much more range. Except for right now, I guess. The Bucksborn. Like, really... Fair and me, Mark. Seriously, the only thing you would need to do to make this weapon less ridiculous, less dumb, is to remove the dagger hitbox. That's all you gotta do. The L1 is still a useful and helpful attack because it has a lot of range, you can roll catch, and there's more reason to use the R1, since, like, if they're right in front of you, you won't want to use the L1 since you can't immediately lock them into a hit stun. And it also would prevent accidental roll catches. Like, seriously, that's the only fix this weapon needs to be more fun. As well as removing parry and adding literally anything else. Alright, blue doesn't seem to be getting involved as usual, so I guess I'll just show him that I can kill the host. Boy, it would sure suck if I murdered the host right now and you lost, blue. You wanna fix that? Nope. Even when I had my back turned, you can attack. Okay, oh, look, the host is getting back into it. Yeah, screw it. I'll just kill the host so that this blue learns a lesson about passivity. I mean, the host makes sense. He has no health, but the blue not so much. Good game, host. I hope that didn't feel too bad. You need to attack more often. Come on, come at me next time. The Goddards are pretty fun. They have a pretty diverse and interesting moveset, and also the straight sword R1, which makes up 90% of my attacks. Ambush fails, unfortunately, even though I totally thought it was going to work. Oh well, can't always get it. This is probably one of them level gankers setups because, well, come on, that's always the case when there's 4 of them. Like, I'm more inclined to believe that they're level gankers than there are actual co-opers anymore. Not even get a 4v1.
Fucking pussy beta, what's wrong with you? Do you even live?
You know, it's like St. Riot was saying, co-opers love PvP. And there's 4 of them. But Duran's pretty good at the game. He does a charge R2 right in front of a dex weapon, gets outspaced. Then he does an R1 way out of range, hoping I'll walk into it and gets outspaced a second time. Goddard's really great at outspacing things, just in case you haven't noticed yet. I attempt to go for the heal punish on this healing attempt, but all those fireballs in the background are making me wary of doing so, because they could easily be aimed at me at any time. It's a really simple trick for a mage to just turn his spell at the last second and then hit you. You see that all the time in pontiffs. Duran is momentarily out in the open. If I had a Murakumo, I'd just be swinging at him like crazy because he clearly has no poise, what with his no pants look. Might have gotten hit by the shield bash, but shield bashes don't even do any damage anyway, so it's no big deal. And now there's 4 of them again and no mobs, so I have to play the edge, see if I can get any of them to go into the PvE, which they won't because everyone's terrified of the Judicator. None of them get too close for fear of provoking the Judicator's ire, so they just kind of attack at a distance, and I'll occasionally go for a running R1 when one of them splits far enough off, and GG has unleashed his Master Stroke. He's put Great Magic Shield on, and he's not using it to attack, I guess. Weird. I move further into the mobs, hoping Great Magic Shield Man will follow me into them now that his shield can't be broken by any number of attacks, but he doesn't. Well, gonna be a waste of a buff then. So once again, then all I can do is play the edge, dodge the consumables, dodge the spells, dodge the arrows, dodge fucking everything, and hope someone makes a mistake. Now you're going to see the most annoying part of anyone having a ranged weapon like a bow or a crossbow. You can't punish anything, because they can just keep shooting at you forever. They never run out of projectiles. It's kind of annoying. As you can see, these 4 are absolute cowards and will not fight unless they have the biggest advantage possible. It absolutely has to be 4 versus 1 for every single one of them. All of them are in agreement on this for some reason. Y'all know time's on my side, right? I will get back up soon if y'all keep waiting. It's only a matter of time. This is the Ring City at soul level 90. There are invaders everywhere. Alright, they try to mount some kind of offensive and really don't do a great job of it. The arrow prevents me from better punishing the host or the phantom there because he can just keep shooting arrows and he never has to stop ever. Thanks Miyazaki. And look, they finally accidentally ticked off the Judicator. Now's my chance. Go for the running R1 roll catch because he missed a spear attack. And since the others refuse to attack ever, I decide to go after the people attacking my mobs. It's going to keep this guy alive because of how useful he is, and also phantoms won't see the attack coming. And in this guy's case, I can just finish him off. 1 down, 3 to go. After what seems like an hour of waiting, the host finally decides to activate a seed of the giant tree. I mean, we all knew this was going to come eventually, and I make the mistake of going after the host and his 2 phantoms instead of just sticking by the Judicator and waiting out the seed. This is a bad idea because this guy has arena medals and a little bit of experience in PvP, and he also has a spear, as well as the other ones having ultra weapons that could stun lock me to death, and fireballs, and all sorts of stuff. So I'm just going to hang out by this Judicator, dodge the enemy's attacks until the seed is over. Oh, they did attack. Alright, let's go for a chase down. Now, unfortunately, GG off screen is probably chasing me since I don't have him in my line of sight and he wasn't occupied with any enemies. Probably moving towards me, which meant I had to leave. You know, you usually want to take the less risky approach when doing anything in an invasion. Ooh, managed to interrupt poison the running R1. If that thing... I'm pretty sure the running R1 has poison the Ultra. No mobs around, and 3 of them who only need to get a lucky stun lock once to kill me. Oh, backup. Cool. Oh, this has got more interesting. My new friend over there has a great club and the poise to use it, which means he can swing pretty much whenever he wants. He's in relative safety when he does. Alright, the only person who's a threat to them is this guy here, and he's got low health and no armor, so let's see if I can chase him down. Luckily, he moved back towards me after he's healing, which means I can get the backstab punish, but I'm driven off by fireballs, where there are always fireballs. The guard break kick from earlier might have sucked, but there's nothing worse than getting a backstab grab when you didn't want one when you're trying to chase someone down. Unfortunately, because of this, I'm unable to kill Mr. Claps a lot. Now I have to deal with his stupid Great Shield. There is one way to deal with a Great Shield if I'm confining myself to the use of Goddards, is to try and move behind him. Doing this will cause Great Shield users to fear the backstab and then roll out as a result. Unfortunately, this guy with the club isn't really thinking too hard about where he's swinging, which means I get hit, but collateral damage just happens to be worth it because it puts this guy at low health, breaks his tears, and lets me kill him before he can get the blessing off. Start the timer, kids. It's time to see how long Ed Sheeran can last in a one-on-one fight against an invader. We're just dodging his attacks left and right, keeping the pressure on, watching him lose his stamina, and somehow he gets guard broken with a Great Shield. He's probably the first player to ever do so. And time's up. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at that timer. And 12 seconds. A whopping 12 seconds of survival in single combat against an invader. Thank you all for coming. You've been a lovely audience. Just a fantastic effort on part of Mr. Ed Sheeran. And I hope to see each and every one of you during my next video. Have a wonderful evening, and good night.